second largest teachers union, the infamous Randi I don't know what I'm doing Weingartner, does a 180 and now insists that public schools will be open in the fall after adamantly refusing to support such a move. I guess it's exactly what you'd expect from a union sock puppet. Blow with the wind, and when in doubt, blame Trump. I'm Dr. Duke, she's Katie, and this is the Dr. Duke Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dr. Duke Show, the only program that keeps you educated on the craziness impacting K-12 classrooms and college campuses around the world. All right, every week we showcase just a few of the endless stories impacting kids in schools across the country. But did you know we do more than just talk about the issues? Freedom Project Academy is now enrolling students for fall. Our kindergarten through high school program, FPA, provides a classical education built on Judeo-Christian values for kids all the way through your schooling experience. Just request a free information packet at freedomforschool.com. That's freedomforschool.com, and see what real online education looks like. Real classical education. Okay, today we start with the ridiculous teachers unions as the supreme leader of the American Federation of Teachers says, despite her demands to keep schools closed for more than a year, it's now time for all children to return in the fall. Randi Weingarten, this woman is everything that's wrong with unions. I mean, she is the walking, talking embodiment of why unions are a outdated, outmoded, utterly unnecessary, completely intrusive force on our lives. She's not an educator, she's not a teacher, she's not an educrat. She is a incredibly narcissistic, incredibly well-compensated shill for simply bleeding the American taxpayer blind, bleeding us white with all of our tax money, and then turning it over to public school teachers and public school systems that can't educate our kids to read, to write, or do math.
Somehow I don't think that's actually what her bio says. But if anyone wants to update her bio to say such things, please feel free. Now, as you said, Randi Weingarten is the president of the American Federation of Teachers. They only have 1.7 million members.
All those
1.7 million
that
members.
Makes for a lot of conferences in Cabo San Lucas in the middle of February. Yep.
Well, you know, with the coronavirus, for over a year now, it's been not safe. And then it was still not safe. And, you know, after a while, it just wasn't safe for our kids to be in school. But all of a sudden, a miracle has occurred, and according to Randi Weingarten, they must be open next year. She says there is no doubt schools must be open in person 5 days a week. The same Randi Weingarten, a hot second ago, like last week, said they must be closed. Well, it is not safe.
You know what happened, right?
What happened?
What happened is that Joe Biden's approval numbers are starting to slip vis-a-vis schools. Yep.
What?
Savior Joe now.
Something's not going good?
Savior Joe's not getting the same kind of support he was when he got all the big numbers promising to immediately fix the schools.
Always, right away.
We're going to get them open. We're going to get your kids back to school. And idiot soccer moms decided that you could trust Joe. Now, we were hearing as late as March and April that maybe we won't even be open in the fall. And now Randi Weingarten has ridden to the savior. She's the white savior for sleepy Joe Biden.
And on top of, you know, Joe Biden's lies and all that regarding the schools, he also had a very bad press week with what's happening over in Israel. And you know why the masks came off. It's because his approval numbers real bad. So we're going to say, oh, schools are going to be open and you can take your mask off. So basically now the savior is back. And it's all because Randi Weingarten, she so eloquently said the schools must be open. Okay, well, we know the teachers' unions have been, for the past year, not wanting to be open, and it's all because, you know, it's not safe. So my question back to you, Randi Weingarten, is what changed in that 1 second? And, of course, we already know the true answer. But, you know, her and all her lefty friends, all her blue check marks, as they say on the Twitter, are so excited about this. Thank you, Randi Weingarten, and the 1.7 million, you know, American Federation of Teacher Educators for supporting getting back to in-person learning safely and quickly. And wait, who's that from? Secretary Miguel Cardona. What is he secretary of? Education. Thank you.
Mike, where'd you get the picture of the wood troll? I thought you were taking a picture of Randi Weingarten.
Nope. No? Apparently, we're just going to go with that. Look at that. She was so.
How many Billy Goats Gruff can cross your bridge?
People call me troll. So anyway, Also, Chris Hayes, because we love ourselves some Chris Hayes around here. This is a big deal and great to see. Is it now? It's
Chris,
so great.
yeah.
This is a
Orange
big deal.
Man gone, now open
And
schools.
this is great to see. But you know what? My favorite of all of them comes from the elite. That is the great, the wonderful.
I am the gas between your wings.
She tweeted out because she's so woke. And anyway, it says, if my kid can't bring peanut butter to school, then yours can't bring the deathly plague. Vaccinate or I'm bringing the jiffy. Not only is this absolutely illogical to make that comparison, she did this right when Randi is saying, schools should be open. So now Bette Midler should be attacking Randi Weingarten for even allowing these schools. But no, they're all going to stick together and be all like friend.
And to show you how much money they have to use and misuse, and how still, even though they want to open, how clueless they are, listen to this quote from Randi. The United States will not fully be back until we are fully back in school. And my union is all in, Ms. Weingarten, a close ally of President Biden, said. This is the point. Pledging to commit $5 million taxpayer dollars for a campaign in which teachers will host open houses and go door to door to build families' confidence in returning to school. You know what? The bottom line is that it's the parents who want the kids back. You're going to spend $5 million to convince parents of what they've been telling you they've wanted for a year.
That $5 million is going to go to the teachers to get hazmat suits, because the teachers are the ones who are saying you can't have your kids in because it's not safe. So the teachers need the hazmat suits when they go and knock on those doors, but they won't knock because that's I'm sure it's racist in some sort of fashion. And so they're going to just stand out there with their boom boxes above their heads.
Oh, jeez. What movie was that?
Say anything.
That was John Cusack, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Oh,
John Cusack.
Now, you think about this. When was the last time on the Dr. Duke Show in the last 3 years you've actually heard money being allocated to actually teach? This $5 million is going so that teachers can go door to door when they should be teaching and reassuring parents. Apparently, all the parents are hiding under the bed afraid of COVID. And assuring them that it's okay to send your kids to our little indoctrination centers.
And here's the question. We'll get called racist for it. Are these teachers going to, in the inner cities, go door to door knocking to ask parents
crack house
if
to crack
they
house.
would like their students back in school? It's just a question. This is a little PSA out there to all adults. In case you did not know, adults should not have sex with students.
Excuse me.
Yes,
I just graduated third grade of a public school.
Yes.
And we read 4 books that said it was all about having adults having sex with kids. As a matter of fact, in my 4th grade literature class, I learned that artificial age restrictions for kids were bullying, and they were anti-positive sex. In fact, I actually learned in my 5th grade English class that adult men having sex with underage boys was actually a way homosexuality, male homosexuality was able to legitimize itself. You're telling me now that we're not allowed to have sex with kids?
Considering you're a white male, I am not listening to anything you just said. Now, it does not matter, by the way, if you are a teacher in a school or a teacher's aide in a school. Either way, you should not have sex with students. But Ashlyn Faye Bell did not get such a memo, and now she'll be in prison for 4 years. Because Bell, who is 24 years old, was an aide at a Texarkana, Texas high school in the Texarkana School District. And she decided to have improper relations, as they are calling it, improper relations.
But I thought all sex was positive. How can there be but this woman actually had sex with more than one boy. I mean, isn't that in this welcoming sexual positive world we live in? Isn't that sharing the love? Isn't group sex actually better than selfish, independent sex with one person? How is this wrong, Katie?
Well, I'm not the health teacher in these public schools, so I will not.
They're so repressive in red states like Arkansas. They wouldn't let this 24-year-old girl take home multiple underage boys for sex. All right.
Well, anyway, the improper relations, it's with 2 17-year-old boys and 1 16-year-old. And she actually testified that she did not realize Texarkana Independent School District policy prohibited all staff members from having sex with students, as opposed to just the teachers only. She did not know. And that says it all. As a 24-year-old, could not understand you can't have sex with teenage boys anyway. And she also, I guess, in her defense, which I don't want to defend her at all, she did think the boys were 18. So that makes it better. And the boys actually had testified that she told them that she could get in trouble. So she knew going in that this was not right, but you know what? That's okay. We're still going to do it. And she has now been sentenced to 4 years for sexual assault of a child and received probation for 3 other accounts. But here's the kicker of this entire story and what upsets me, I'll say. She would pick these boys up from truck stops in the middle of the night and from their homes, and she would drive them back to her home while her 3-year-old daughter was in the back seat. I hate this on so many levels. I'm not going to go on my tirade, but it's in there.
Hey,
I'm mad.
I was as a 3rd grader. I learned that 3-year-olds are able to be sexual creatures. I learned from the Texarkana school critical race theory. I learned that children as young as 3 months old are able to perceive sexuality. Why would it be a bad thing that the little girl watched? Hey, I'm just playing critical race theory devil's advocate.
I know, but this is this is exactly correct as to what you're saying. But this is what our education system is teaching.
You've got babies, so I'm not surprised you're doubly incensed by this.
Very incensed by this.
How old is your oldest? 2?
18 months.
18 months. So yeah, this struck a nerve with you.
Just a little bit.
Nerve.
We have a 24-year-old woman who cannot, first off, understand that you are not allowed to have sex, nor should you morally have sex with a teenager. 24-year-old in the school district. How is it that these people are being employed? Because she actually, in her initial forms that you have to fill out to be an employee, had marked down she understood that you're not supposed to.
But when I was getting interviewed for the job, we had a mandatory NAMBLA meeting we had to go to. We had to go hear NAMBLA propaganda. I don't know. Mixed messages. I can't handle it.
And we're going to just keep on trucking right along because the next story is also gross or bruta.
Creepy?
If you want to say in Spanish, bruta. I think that's how you say it.
That's gross. Bruta.
That's gross, yeah. So we have a Spanish teacher who was performing an inappropriate sexual act during a Zoom class. And the thing is, this story is actually, it happened back in September. And we're just now finding out because the report is just being released. But the report that they actually did an investigation on was finished in October. And now we're in May, and now we're just finding out about these types of things. That's how public schools work. You know, they can do things when it's, not anyone paying attention. So students at the prestigious Columbia Secondary School for Math, Science, and Engineering were watching a live class, as all basically students were doing for the past school year, having to watch Zoom classes. And there was about 12 minutes left in Spanish class. And so what happens? Well, naturally, Amanda K. Fletcher, a 37-year-old, who's a veteran teacher, by the way, been teaching for 14 years.
Now,
she
you're quoting directly from the report, right?
Well, yes, she, quote, appeared to suck the nipple of an unidentified topless male while she, quote, rocked her head back and forth. And this is according to the report, the official report from the Special Commissioner of Investigation for City Schools. New York City's finest, teaching our students Espanol until 12 minutes left of class.
I'm still going to play devil's advocate here because I learned very young that men could lactate.
Did you?
I learned in my local public school by the grade of 5 that it's not just women who lactate. So maybe she was hungry. Maybe Miss Fletcher was actually just feeding herself. And there's nothing creepy about that.
No,
it's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing.
We have lactation rooms.
That is true, but she was not using a lactation room.
Well, but shouldn't we expose little Zoom kids to virtual lactation? If they're not able to walk by their local high school where you have a dedicated room to lactation, maybe she should have just made this a lesson on transgenderism.
Maybe. Well, and maybe she's Spanish/health. I did not know. I think she was just Spanish teacher, but she's also the health teacher.
Amanda K. Fletcher doesn't sound very Spanish.
Well, she teaches Spanish.
Wow.
She's a Spanish teacher. Well, anyway.
How do you say nipple suck in Spanish?
I did not look that one up. If anyone knows, well, good for you. So Fletcher, again, she's been teaching for 14 years. Maybe she just doesn't understand what it means to use a Zoom class. But she was removed at the time from her teaching duties and grades 6 through 12, and the Department of Education investigated. But as I said, that report was finished in October. This incident happened in September, and it's now May, and we're just finding out about it. It's been made public. According to, again, this report, while she was supposed to be teaching a class, Fletcher engaged in a clearly inappropriate and unprofessional act. And that's coming from Anastasia Coleman, who's a top school's investigations official.
Where did all this anti-nippleism come from?
You know,
I could
that's
see
a
it
good
if she pulled a Tubin. Remember Tubin's for CNN?
Jeffrey
He was
Toobin.
out there actually
Tubin?
flogging the donkey
was Toobin.
on a Zoom. Remember
He
that?
was, yeah.
I could see that, but why all the anti-nipple-ish? Why are we picking on the poor nipple here?
I don't know, ask the nipple investigators. Well, they viewed several videos because what happened is 12 minutes left of class and the kids were supposedly working and distracted, and all of a sudden the man comes in to get his nipple worked on. And so the kids, what do teenagers do? They have their cell phones. They immediately started taping. So there are different angles that they were able to capture for the investigation. And they put this out on Snapchat and other basically social media things.
Video clips captured by her students showed Fletcher, quote, rocked her head back and forth as she sucked on the unidentified nipple, then gyrated her shoulders and smiled, the report said. She then returned to teaching and helped the students complete a worksheet. This doesn't seem like a woman who can multitask. We're punishing multitasking now?
She did not miss a beat, for sure, on that one. The report also suggested that school supervisors, it's like they give advice in it. They said that, school supervisors should ensure teachers keep others out of view of students during remote classes and avoid activities that might prevent an educator from maintaining total focus on the classroom. So you can't multitask. You got to have total focus on the classroom.
And the teacher's name was Areola K. Fletcher?
That might be her nickname.
Is that her nickname?
For sure. But
Nip?
here's the thing.
So remember for the Seinfeld episode?
No, because I didn't watch Seinfeld. I'm too cool.
Where Elaine takes a Christmas photo where you can see her nipple.
Oh, did she know?
And everybody starts calling her Nip. So Amanda K. Fletcher, you're now known as Nip.
Well, she's not the only example because we've had stories like this before. And classic Zoom slips of the nips are happening everywhere. We have an example from a Catholic school teacher, actually in Colombia, who was basically red-faced afterward. And I would think of embarrassment, but maybe it's red-faced for other reasons. Forgot to turn off a Zoom call with his class of teenage students before he snuggled up to his wife's breasts. Ruben Dario Parras didn't realize he was being filmed, and he lifted up his wife's blouse. And, yep, there he is. He's a physics tutor. He appeared to kiss her left breast as the moment was broadcast to everyone still on the call. Whoopsie. Couldn't wait. 5 more minutes. Had to get it right there. But back to our friend Fletcher. I know you want to get in on commenting on this one. But anyway, we're going back to Fletcher because the Department of Education, quote, reassigned her after getting the report, and they will pursue disciplinary action. But don't worry, she's still making her $105,000.
Disciplinary action. Is that like S&M stuff, right?
Yeah.
Her boyfriend's going to be suspended from a harness and spanked with a riding crop. Given where we are as a culture, that's what she means by discipline, right? Candle wax will be dripped on his other nipple. You watch. Mark my words. It's time now for some real education. We are glorying in the words of H.L. Mencken. He was a contrarian. He was up in everybody's business. He was like Mark Twain and Voltaire, the other great men we've looked at on this series so far, who will look you in the eye, will tell you why your liberal ideas of everything are stupid, will look you in the eye and tell you why the transition of America from a republic to a democracy was a disaster. Very nice. Here's a first quote from Mencken today. Quote, democracy is also a form of worship. It is the worship of jackals by jackasses. Oh. Democracy is also a form of worship. It is the worship of jackals, hyena-devouring politicians by jackass voters. How about this? Democracy is the art and science of running the circus from the monkey cage. Democracy is the art and the science of running the circus of government from the monkey cage. Why do I just have an image of Nancy Pelosi in a mask? How about this one? Democracy is the theory that the common people know what they want and deserve to get it good and hard. Remember, that's a parallel to the American people get the government they vote for, the government they deserve. Democracy, by backing away from our Republican constitutional history. Checks and balances, right? How long has it been since Congress and Congress alone made laws? How long has it been since the Senate did its job to consent? And presidents, how long have they been using the executive pen to rewrite government as if they were dictators? Democracy is indeed the theory that the common people know what they think they want, and boy, they deserve to get it good for what they believe. And how about this quote? Every decent man is ashamed of the government he lives under. Every decent man can do nothing but be ashamed of the government he lives under, because they're all driven by frail, selfish, hypocritical people. I think Mencken has already demonstrated in 2 days of H.L. Mencken Week why he's somebody we need to keep constantly in memory here on the Dr. Duke Show.
All right, those are the stories for the day. And if you have a question for us, please feel free to drop it in the mailbag by emailing askduke@fpeusa.org. And of course, if you enjoy our content, please support our show and join the Patriot Club. Your one-time $99 tax-deductible donation keeps us going. Simply visit patriotclub.us to sign up today. That's patriotclub.us. And of course, as a special little thank you, we're going to ship you our signature tumbler.
And that wraps up the show. For Freedom Project, I'm Dr. Duke. She's Katie. Until next time, educate yourself if you're not. And if you are, stay some.